My honey sparkles, I unfortunately recognize that my style of doing what I do and how I'm doing it is more and more being copied, even stolen by, let's say, bigger channels. That's not okay. My peeps, my sparkles, you know my channels. You know me and my style. Some of you know me for years from here and or in person, for decades, before I even uploaded my first video on YouTube. Well, in fact, there was no YouTube back then, right? So you know from my teachings here on YouTube or in person that for inner growth and healing, all kinds of changes are part of the necessary divine journey we all individually have to wander through. But copying or stealing never is and never will be. And with that saying, you also know that I am an intense justice seeker and keeper. Well, interestingly, I lately had a dialogue about that topic of grabbing intellectual property in general. And I wanted to create a video, a platform for us all to communicate about that field anyhow. Actually, while not even having a glimpse about the fact that my intellectual property is right then and right now getting violated as well. Meaning, I initially wanted to take time for that, but now the chaotic nature shows the urgency. So I decided to make the video sooner but more compromised. But don't get me wrong, it's not urgent just and only because of me. No, it is urgent because I also saw and still see that copying and stealing of intellectual property is getting more and more worse. Meaning there's widespread mutual theft going on. Everyone is robbing from each other across the board, and seemingly there's no honor among those thieves. Well, in fact, if they had some honor, they wouldn't steal, right? It's that easy. So let's go for it. Copying the art of other artists and the messages of other spiritual teachers of any branches is never an option. In my case, it might seem like I am a little creator in the vast ocean of big channels. But I am still a creator. And as a creator and artist, but more importantly, as a spiritual healer who ever and ever passes down ancient as well as assembled knowledge about how to be the most authentic, highest self for good, so humanity can improve their souls for healing from within. I always stand for the blank truth, protective justice, and united togetherness in which honest communication, ethics, as well as humanity is key. For this reason, when we all share our collective knowledge in harmonious unity, we should never forget to go back to the source, aka the individual from who you gained that knowledge in appreciation, meaning credit, credit, credit. And to precisely those ones who give themselves titles like healer, teacher, consult, spiritual guide, alchemist, tarot reader, etc., etc. I talk directly to you now. You know who you are, and you exactly know what you are doing. And even though you are stealing and copying my style and even my words, let me tell you this: you never ever can copy my style, because all my knowledge comes from my highly spiritual long ancestry line. Not you, not anyone, without exceptions, can copy or steal my whole ancestors' knowledge, right? You can try. Well, and you do, you try, you can try. as you ridiculously right now do, but you'll never reach the highest authenticity. Stealing the spirit of others and then expecting to get to be the highest version while simultaneously talking about karma to others who are in need of spiritual guidance is simply not possible and unacceptable. If you would be a real healer, or whatever you call yourself, which I at this point honestly object, who's connected to the source, you simply would know about that fact. Period. So your act of stealing and copying of what is not yours is highly and ridiculously suspicious. As a healer, first of all, I recommend to those ones who know themselves to take an honest look within and at your actions, while asking yourself the questions, why am I behaving like that? Why have I decided to choose the wrong way? By simultaneously giving me a sorry and stop immediately stealing and copying my intellectual property. And in case of the videos in which you used the from me stolen words and sentences, I expect you to credit me ASAP. To make it very clear, I am not talking about being inspired by someone or something. Of course, inspiration is in fact wonderful in its pure form, especially when sharing and crediting it for good. But what you are doing, this is not about sharing precious knowledge while crediting. This is literally about pure stealing. Long story short, I will continue with my work as it is, most authentic and real, and you might as well try that. Otherwise, you know what? I know for sure that karma works precisely very well, aka karma knows exactly when and where to find your soul's address, so to speak. Actually, don't believe me. But you don't want to mess with karma. If you know me, and as you copied me and steal my work, you do, you know that this is not what I want. But this is what's gonna happen when you continue to mess with karma. Just in case you stubbornly ignore my humble try to show the humanitarian way and decide to continue to act as a thief, well, we of course can also fight throughout law. And this will be a very easy process because you made it easy. Why? Well, about that, you should think yourself. At least it is your decision. But this is what I do not want and what I never teach. We have enough wars, battles, and fights on earth. There is way too much violence, exploitation, hate, racism, injustice, etc. going on. That's enough. It's enough. Okay? It's just enough. Healers and spiritual guides of any branches are not here on this planet to fight wars and battles. No. We are here to heal ourselves while supporting humanity, improving their souls for healing as well. By carrying empathy, sympathy, and love within us and acting in a humble and sensitive way towards ourselves, our environment, and humanity. There are souls out there, nowadays even desperate souls, probably also new awakened souls, asking for transparent answers, hoping for spiritual guidance, waiting for divine messages, anticipating for proper translations through us, through heartfelt healers who translate the divine codes with integrity in a truthful way, so that every individual soul has the chance to connect to their very source, to the divine synaptic network, so to say, and find its very individual, properly translated, pure light codes with which they can heal. themselves. Obviously, you enjoy my work, but instead of stealing and copying my art without asking me first for permission or giving at least any credits, why don't you reach out to me? If you appreciate my style, which you clearly do as you copy me, then reach out to me and let's start at least a conversation and see how we might work together for good. Anyway, see, your action led me to create this video, which is indeed truly a sacred honor I never asked for actually. Nevertheless, I'm moved beyond words by this cosmic audacity, but also truly humbled by this divine intervention of fate. Why? Well, it is not only my very topic, as I witness how cold-bloodedly, and as I said before, this widespread mutual theft is ongoing. Stealing from one another and selling the booty to souls who are on a quest of solidly reliable, dedicated assistance without even having a glimpse about what you as a thief, who wasn't in fact the translator, actually are talking about. However, how could you? You don't hold that knowledge within. It wasn't passed down to you through your ancestry line. So it's not possible to have any glimpse at all. So the impact you're making is to perpetrate spirit's atimon, aka the root words, aka the translated messages coming from the highest divine source while tricking the pristine term. Do you see now the vast ripple effect of damage you're causing and the eternal repercussions that stem from one single choice? Your choice? Doesn't matter from whom you grab information or art. You will never be able to deeply and honestly light up special spots which need to be properly spotlighted so codes, aka translations, can reach out to the very souls. Yes, you do injustice by standing in the light of progress as a shadow of an obstacle. And with that, you lack the soul to stress the meaning, the depth to decode it, and the artistry to strike the right audiophile chords. Shortly explained, you seemingly, without hesitation, not only violate the messages from my spirit guides, my ancestors, and knowledge to my honey sparkles, and trick other souls as well. No, you also violate the knowledge which I also have assembled and of course credited from other sources. No, no. That's a mighty no.